Well guys, Dr. Dual Sport here. We're on our day 3 of our Flying Monkey Adventure rally. We're up on the Cedar Mountain here, just kind of watching the cows moseying along here. We've passed with like a bull hauler set of doubles, and then a 2 or 3 or 4 cowboys, with their stock trailers. I think it's right to the end of the month, so it's time to they have to gather the livestock and get them off the mountain. So it's real pretty up here. The leaves are turning. We're in a group today that we left the Zion Ponderosa and we're headed up North Fork Road is what they call this. Goes up over the top on the Cedar Mountain. We actually came up here, rode up this way the first day I went to Navaho Lake. So anyway, we're in the group we're in today. Oh, my friend Tyler, aka eveRide, is what's that? If you want to. Anyway, Tyler's leading this group. We're going up up on top of this Cedar Mountain over to Duck Creek, a little fuel stop there, and then we're gonna go hit the highway 14 west. And we have to go, I don't know, it's a ways. It might be 30 miles, but I don't know exactly. But we go down to about, I don't know if it's 10 miles above Cedar City or thereabouts. And then we turn off and go up the right-hand fork. That takes us up on the mountain, then south. And we'll go all the way down to Kolob Reservoir. And then we'll drop down into the, I don't know what it's called, the kind of the West Fork of Zion there. Part of Zion, but it's we drop down towards Virgin, Utah, and then we're gonna take a little side road there and go up on Smith's Mesa. Smith's Mesa is like a mesa there, flat top mountain there, and the government in the 50s and 60s, the space industry, they had a test site up there where they had a sled track, and they'd put different things in there and sent them down there to test equipment and stuff. And anyway, at one time, I guess they actually put I don't know if it was chimpanzees or monkeys or whatever in these rockets powered sleds, and then they would send them down there and then I guess monitor them, their body functions, to see how they could stand that many there we go, G's. But anyway, it's kind of a neat little place. And Jesse Kimball, who is the main leader of the Flying Monkey Adventure Rally, he has a little piece of property up on Smith's Mesa with an old cabin and stuff there. I have not been there, but he was telling me about it, and he likes to go there often. And Tyler eveRide, he shoots. You've seen his like epic drone cinema where the riders going down the road and red dirt and whatever. A lot of that's shot on that mesa there. It's always works well for that. So anyway, it'll be a good little ride. This road's been pretty good today. It's had increased traffic on it, and there's some areas that have a lot of ruts. And then those ruts are filled with like cake flour powder dust. So, but it's not, just got to go for it and just got to do it. Not too bad. I'm on the little CRF 250 today, so that works for me. Yeah, there's a lot more about this bike that I like than what I don't like. So at this stage of the game in my life, who can be picky, huh? Yeah, I'm just enjoying this beautiful scenery and beautiful weather. So this will be our last day of riding. Then we'll have to pack her up and head home. We had a wonderful breakfast this morning. It was catered by Rocky Mountain ATV, so I want to throw out a big old thanks to them boys. They were up very bright and early, about 5 this morning. They started clanking around and getting out their grills and pots and pans, and we had a very good breakfast. All you could eat. Pancakes, eggs and bacon, and juice. Thanks to those guys. They really showed us some great hospitality. Well, I guess while I'm yakking, I'll yak about one more thing. Our dinner last night was really good. It was, catered by the resort there, and it was a Mexican. So they had black beans, and then they had some other kind of bean stuff, and then they had carnitas and pollo, pulled the pork and chicken, tortillas. It was really good. And then we had a real treat. I'm sure you've all heard about the guys that rode the KLRs from the Arctic Circle down to the tip of Argentina. They had the side, I'm sorry, but I forget the name of the ride, but they're a bunch of veterans. Anyway, they were with us last night, and they explained a little bit about their journey and how they got into it, how they planned it, what was the motivation for it, for the adventure. And they left the top of Alaska there on these KLRs, and they had sidecars on them, had the tires studded up, and it was, of course, extremely cold weather. I don't know if it was, I assume it was below zero or whatever, but anyway, they made it down. When they got into Oregon, then they took off the sidecars, made it all the way down. They actually went down through Baja and then ferried over to the mainland, all the way down to Panama. And then from Panama, that's where the world ends. So you've got to get through the Darien Gap, and that was their goal, is to be able to get motorcycles through the Darien Gap. So anyway, they had 2 10-minute movie clips which they had developed. The first one was kind of about a little bit about the guys and the reasons for it, and then the Alaska part. Okay, the second part was in the Darien Gap, and as basically the road just ends. There's no road, and so they had planned the trip to where they would be. Let me shut that visor, maybe you can hear me better. But they planned the trip to where they would be in the dry season to get through there, because it's real swampy. Well, come to find out, it rained every day while they were there. So they were just in this black, greasy mud trying to get those bikes through there. And long story short, they burnt the clutch out of one bike and had to abandon it there at one of those Aboriginal villages. And that guy went back, and then the other 3 went on, and by the time they got through there, they had burned all their clutches out. They could only go like maybe 100 yards, and they'd have to stop and tip the bike over and clean all of the mud out of the rear tire. Then in parts of it, they'd load the bikes into these little canoes, and then they could go up these little streams. But then pretty soon the water would get too shallow, so then they'd have to take the bikes back out and push them until the water got deeper. Then they put them back in the little canoes again. So anyway, it was I thank those guys personally, for sharing that with us, And the point they're at, you know, they just did it because they wanted to adventure, and they wanted to, you know, show people that, you know, things like this can be done, and they wanted to share their adventure. And some of them had a little bit of you know, motorcycle routes and stuff. And anyway, they was interested. They chose the KLR because they thought there would be parts available in South America. And anyway, they found out that there's, once you get past below Panama, there's virtually no parts for those big of a bike, because all the bikes down there are like, you know, 150cc or something like that. They're smaller bikes. So anyway, it was great. I really enjoyed it, and visiting with those guys. They're a bunch of good guys, and they're you know, they're not cookie cutter. They're all very different ages. The one gentleman was, you know, up there closer to my age probably, and he's an amazing guy. He races at Bonneville, and then the last few years he's been racing at Baja. They have a race that's called the Mexican 500 that's for the elderly people, you know. Anyway, you leave Ensenada, and you know, it's 5 day. You ride over to San Felipe, and then I don't know the exact route, but you do about 200 miles a day for 5 days. You know, you stay in a hotel at night and eat fish tacos and drink beer, he says. So anyway, I commend him for, you know, at his age, for, you know, still doing things, you know, and seeking out the adventure. So anyway, that's about a yak and a half, I think. So I'm going to turn this camera off. We'll meet these guys up here at Duck Creek and get some gas, and then we'll go from there. Well, we made her up on top here. We got the group. We're going to head around the Navajo Lake. Flowers are beautiful. I mean, not the flowers. The leaves are beautiful. So, hey, I switched bikes, by the way. I'm on the CRF 230. So, I got me some raw 230 power. See, the 230 can outrun a jogger. There's old Navajo Lake. It doesn't have a lot of water in it, so as I told you probably on a previous video, if I make the video of the what are the Geyser Falls or whatever, there's no water going out of it, so it's a dry. We've had a dry year. But hey, there's a Mr. Old eveRide and Mr. Tyler. Look at him go. He's on the Black Widow. Yeah, Tyler came up last night, camped out. He was up here for the dinner, camped out. Then I was able to visit with him briefly over breakfast time there. So. I don't know if you can see out there through the trees, but see that east half of the lake is dry, so I think that's why that Geyser Falls there wasn't putting out any water. So anyway, we just got to head up, oh god, maybe a mile or two here, and we'll hit the Highway 14, jump over to Duck Creek. I think it's like, that might be 7 miles over that way, and get fueled up, and then away we go again. So you've seen the pretty trees here, so I'm going to turn the camera off and catch you in a bit. Well, here we are at Duck Creek. See if we can get us a spot of gas here. There's old Tyler. $11:30. Anyway, popular gas stop. anyway, you got to see these beautiful quakey trees. They're turning color, and they're very beautiful. It's been a good road. It's got a little pavement on it. Hasn't been too much traffic. One thing we've noticed today is that all the livestock people they're gathering up their livestock and ready to leave the mountain. I just passed like a bobtail truck, double decked with a load of ewe lambs on it, and he's going about 5 miles an hour, which that's as fast as he'll go till he gets to the bottom. Keep it in that granny gear. Anyway, beautiful colors. Yeah, we had I don't know how far it is on the pavement on the 14. It's probably 25 miles or so, a little more maybe. But the old little 230 done pretty good. I kind of lagged behind a little bit there at the very highest altitudes, and there's not as much oxygen in the air, but it was all good. Didn't take too long to get there, and then I'm kind of ended up being ahead of the guys that were waiting by the turn there, so haven't had to eat any dust. It looks like there's a few vehicles, so I'm not gonna really pass them vehicles too much. I don't think. Well, it'll just be dusty anyway, so we'll see. Anyway, it'll be pretty much like this all the way along the top here till we get to the Kolob Reservoir, so we'll see you over there. Well, here we are at the Kolob Reservoir. I'll just make a little pass in here. It's pretty much drained. There's not much water in there. I heard that they had an invasive fish in there that they were trying to eradicate, so they drained it down and poisoned it. And in fact, they said that you can do unlimited fishing there. So anyway, that's the story with Kolob Reservoir. Not much water. Of course, it's been a unreasonably dry year also, so that may have something to do with it. Maybe I'll wait here for a minute and see if we have another rider come, and then I'll head out. So that's my story. Smith's Mesa. It has a, you know, a backdrop behind me of the orange cliffs of Zion. And then just a lot of big open space. You can, I'll look over there, you can take a look. Grassland, probably old dry farms. They probably used to raise wheat up here. Straight ahead on the top there, you can see that's where that government test site is, where they had the sled where they used to do the testing in the 50s and 60s. So anyway, this through here with that, you know, beautiful backdrop there and the wide open fields here and the green cedar tree, juniper trees. Anyway, that's one of Tyler's favorite spots to do his really cinematic drone shots. You know, you'll have 2 or 3 guys on the motorcycles going across here, a little bit of dust puffing up behind them, and then he'll be kind of following him in the drone. You know, makes for a real nice shot. So anyway, we are here. This is you know, kind of the latter segment of our trip today to make this little loop over the Smith's Mesa. We'll drop down here down into just below Virgin, and then we can go, you know, Springdale and up through the park, through the tunnel, and back to the campground. And then this evening we're having another dinner at the campground there, so we'll be glad to get back, have an old shower, and have another nice meal. So anyway, been another really fun day with riding in beautiful country with really nice people to ride with. So doesn't get any better than that. No more than that you could ask for. So anyway, we'll talk to you in a bit, folks. Well, that's been a fun ride today. We're dropping off the Mesa down into just below Virgin there. Anyway, we get to the bottom here, and we're going to part our ways with old Mr. eveRide because he's going to head home to St. George. We're going to head back to the campground. We'll go up through the park, through Zion's, go up through the tunnel. There was an alternative route. We could go out across rafting and out that way to Colorado City and up to the Coral Pink sand dunes, but it sounds like everybody wants to go through the park. There are a few of them that have a park pass, so we're going to try to kind of pair up and see if they won't let us take 2 bikes through on each pass. Sometimes they will let you do that. It's kind of funny though, it just depends on the person that working that day. They want to be Mr. Nice Guy or Mr. Hard Ass. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Well, we'll stop here and we'll say goodbye, Mr. eveRide. Hope to ride with you again someday. Hopefully in the more near than farther away future. So
all right, man.
thanks, Tyler. So good to see you.
I think
man hug.
Oh, the helmet and armor hug.
I gotta come see you sometime.
I think you guys. I think most people are just planning on heading back through Zion.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
It's about 4.
Yeah, we'll have to get there to get for dinner. So, well,
man,
good luck. Good luck with everything in your life and with your family, and
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll have to, sometime this winter, I'll stop down for a minute and
Yeah.
drop in on you and say hello.
Yeah, sounds
See them kids. So.
awesome. All right. Well, see you guys.
Thank
It's been
you.
an
See ya.
awesome ride.
Nice meeting you.
All right.
You too.
Good ride.
Dude, that was flat.
More man hugs. Thanks, Tyler. Good time.